Coming up on this week's show, Juliet gets behind the wheel of the eagerly anticipated Lexus RZ.
I find that I often think that the top of the steering wheel is here and how often I must use this part of it, and then my hand drops.
Lepus kicks off their local product offensive with the launch of the L4 SUV.
It's just a stylish, decent-looking compact SUV at a good price, and it feels like exactly that.
And we get better acquainted with Omoda's new mid-range model, the C7.
And I'm quite impressed with how it looks and, most importantly, how it drives, because it feels so refined.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Ignition GT, your one-stop shop for all manner of automotive news and reviews. Joining me in studio to share their views today is Bernie Halberg and Willem van der Putte. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing?
You know what? Always better when I'm here.
And also, it's quite busy at this time of the year. Like, we've got
Chaos.
so much happening, launches and test drives. And talking about
Lots
test
of
drives,
launches.
Yeah. Let's start with you, Bernie. What's in your garage? What have you been driving?
In my garage right now, standing downstairs, is the Audi A5 TFSI Quattro S-Line. Name like this. But it's so perfectly engineered, and the design is so sublime, so elegant, so calm, that I'm going, what makes this car different?
Yeah.
And that's the
what
answer
you're
I'm struggling with.
Yeah, I think I also had those thoughts as well. What is your USP?
Yeah.
What is it that makes you stand out? Willem?
At the moment, I'm driving an MG ZS.
Yes, how's that?
I actually quite enjoy it, to be honest,
Yeah.
funnily enough. I mean, it does everything it's supposed to do. It's another Chinese SUV.
Yeah.
Actually quite enjoying it, and what has impressed me, I'm standing on 7.9 litres per 100,
Oh,
which
really?
is quite good. Yeah. And I haven't been purposely trying to save fuel.
Yeah.
I've just been driving it normally, and I'm actually quite impressed. The bits of the bings and the bangs and the bongs and the dongs, you know, that you have to switch off every time you restart it is a bit irritating. But
Yeah.
other than that, it ticks the boxes. You know.
But also talking about fuel prices, I mean, we're going through something very big right now.
It's bonkers, eh?
Sure. How do you think that's actually going to affect, South African pockets? And what can we
Hugely.
look for in sort of, mitigating that?
It has a knock-on effect, you know. The consumers are always affected because now transport costs are becoming more, and everything will increase.
We're not looking at a year, 2 years of this kind of fuel prices.
Let's hope
Yeah.
not. Yeah, let's hope it's.
Simply because the world cannot afford that.
At all.
The oil needs to flow, or not only South Africa, but many other
Globally.
countries will be negatively affected. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
All right, well, let's see what happens. But if fuel prices do rise dramatically, we may just see the large-scale uptake in EVs that car makers have been hoping for. And Lexus are ready to seize the opportunity with the new RZ.
Lexus is launching its first fully electric model into the South African market. It is the RZ. Now, Toyota and Lexus have sort of taken a multi-pathway strategy towards carbon neutrality. And it goes back to like 2008. But remember back then, Lexus brought out the hybrid. It was the RX hybrid. That is ages ago for that to have happened. Then fast forward a few years and they brought in plug-in hybrids. But this fully electric RZ really cements the brand in its future towards fully electric mobility. But let's take a closer look. So the range kicks off at 1.65 million rand for the EX and sees the F Sport sitting just under 1.94 million. In terms of size, this will sit between the Lexus NX and RX models. But unlike any of its adapted internal combustion platform siblings, this model has been conceived from the ground up around a dedicated electric architecture. There are 4 trim lines available with 2 powertrain options up for grabs, but we will only see the RZ600E F-Sport Performance arrive at a later stage. For now, we have the 500E model with its 3 geysers. Welcome to the interior of the Lexus RZ. Now, this is all about the Tazuna concept, right? Which is Lexus's sort of human-centered philosophy. And it's this whole thing between this connection between the driver and the car. I think I'm far too surface level for that kind of thing, but I like the interior. It's all very sort of modern and digital. I mean, should we talk about the steering wheel? You'll see when I drive the car, it is just bizarre. It takes some getting used to, but it does look very futuristic. It also means that this digital display here in front of me is so open, I can see everything. So now you've got the different trim levels. They've all got a load of spec in them. This one and the SE have this sort of 14-inch whatnot touchscreen that kind of houses everything. It does have some buttons down here, which I'm so thrilled about. Like, I love that there's a volume button. That's the best. You've got your USB ports down here. You press here to look at the camera, which is really great. It all looks really beautiful. You've got your wireless charger down here. They've all got this sort of rotary dial shift-by-wire gear selector, which takes a bit of getting used to because you've got to push it down and turn. I would have liked to just been able to turn it, but that's just a preference for me. So you've got this panoramic sunroof that dims. You press a button up here and it dims it and then lightens it. The seats, you get a whole bunch of different sort of versions. This being the F-Sport's got this synthetic leather, but it's also got this suede paneling on it, and it looks really beautiful. It feels very nice. They are noticeably comfortable. So really, there isn't much in here that you are going to be wanting on top of everything. You've even got heated seats for the front and rear. You've got ventilated seats up here. You've got a heated steering wheel. But overall, it is a very premium, very beautiful interior from Lexus, and I think they've smashed it. It is day 2 of the Lexus launch here in Cape Town, and before I get into any details, I just have to make mention of the steering wheel. It is bizarre. It's like being in a TV game, and it is certainly the most responsive steering wheel system or whatever that I've ever experienced. So the whole point really as well is that then you don't have that hand-over-hand action, but I find that I often think that the top of the steering wheel is here and how often I must use this part of it, and then my hand drops. I realize that I'm still in the TV game. So there is a revised BEV system around the battery, which on the EX and SE is a 74.6 kilowatt hour battery. On the F Sport, it is a 76.9 kilowatt hour battery. So you're getting to sort of 100 kilometers per hour in 4.4 seconds. So it's really got that EV off the line performance that you're after. With a DC fast charger, you can get up to 80% in about 30 minutes. There are a number of optional wall boxes. They have different versions for you. If you get like a fast charging one at home, you can charge the car in 3 hours and 30 minutes. You're looking at about 400 to 450 kilometers of range. I mean, it's a very smooth, very beautiful Lexus drive. And I think there is something very special about Lexus, and the fact that it is sort of so niche makes me kind of want to drive this more. So electric vehicles aren't exactly flying off the shelves in South Africa. Most of us can't afford them, that's the main thing. So you could be curious as to why Lexus would bring in such a model, especially as Lexus itself is so niche. Well, they have Toyota, and that's kind of everything. Add to that excellent build quality, reliable service, and just a reliable and well-known brand within that. You can't really go wrong with it. So would I take this over other electric vehicles? Probably. If I had the money, I would buy this. And I don't say that often about electric vehicles. But I think that being Lexus, they were pioneers of new energy vehicles in a way. You know the quality, you know how premium it is. And so basically, it's as good as Lexus is, just electric.
Welcome back to Ignition GT. Juliet got her first taste of the Lexus RZ at the media launch in Cape Town, which my two guests were also fortunate enough to attend. So I'm keen to find out what they think of the new electric SUV. Bernie, any thoughts? What were your impressions?
Look, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
In the first place, this is Lexus's first EV, full EV. I mean, they have other hybrids and plug-in hybrid EVs, but full EV, this is the first. There's a lot to talk about. It's a beautiful car. I think it drives fantastically. The Cape Town roads were the perfect place to launch it, of course.
Yeah.
It looks great, and I think it'll do a lot of good things for the Lexus brand on a small scale, because it's a very niche product.
That is true.
You know, let's
Yeah.
not mince words.
They're only bringing in 50 of them.
Only
So-
50.
So that gives you an idea of, you know, what they're looking at. So Lexus itself is niche,
Yeah.
and now you're bringing a niche within a niche.
Let's talk about price points, because I know that got a few people feeling a bit antsy. You know, do you think the consumer who is an avid Lexus driver is going to even care?
Look, there are three price points. There are three models. The 500e EX, I think it's called,
Yeah,
and then
EX
the
and then
SE.
the
Those are the
SE
two
and then F Sport.
entry-level inverted comma vehicles, and then
Yeah.
of course the F Sport, known as the 550e F Sport. They started 1.6
1.8,
and then 1.9,
1.9,
almost 2 million rand
almost too close to 2 million
for the
rand
F Sport, which for Lexus customers, I think it's well priced. I think that it will sell those 50 units that they're bringing in. I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to struggle to sell them.
Let's talk a bit about your driving impressions, Willem.
Look, the EX and the SE are standard Lexus fare
Mm.
in terms of drivability, and because it's an electric car, you know, it just accelerates lovely. The F Sport though was a bit of a different animal.
For
You
a
know,
specific reason.
Yeah, just rather unusual. You know, in all the years I can't remember having gone on a launch and driven a car with a steer-by-wire yoke.
Yeah.
You know, like you have in a GT racing car, which is
Yeah, or
And
an
how is that?
aircraft.
Yeah.
on an
It's-
aircraft, very much.
So it's essentially, I mean, obviously it is a steering system. It's there, but
Yes.
it's not a steering wheel. So it doesn't
That's
have
the
the
whole
rim.
complete
It's not-
circle.
yeah,
It's
the rim
just-
isn't completed at the top and the bottom, which for me was a little bit odd, and definitely would take some getting used to, because so many times, and Willem can talk about the lock-to-lock calibration, which is good on the car, but so many times I found myself wanting to turn and then grabbing
And there's
to
nothing.
part of the
Muscle
wheel that's just not
memory, yeah.
there. You know, it's muscle memory doing its thing, and I'm going, ooh,
Yeah.
hold back.
The other thing that could be a little bit disconcerting is, but your wiper and light stalks behind the yoke are like stumpy.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
tiny.
tiny.
They're stumpy. So you know that's a little bit odd, and the steering is incredibly direct. I mean, the first time we got into it, you really have to be careful. It's like almost onto the curb, which would be great if it was a racing car.
Yes.
But once you get used to it, I kind
think
of
you kinda
liked
like it and get
yeah,
into
it's like
it.
yeah, you get into it. But I don't think I would like it as an everyday thing, possibly, and especially because Lexus owners are more conservative. I think, you know, something radical like that, they're like, oh, you know.
Well, let's move on to something a little bit more budget friendly. A few weeks ago, we had the opportunity to sit down with members of the Lepus team to find out what the fledgling Chinese brand has planned for their local introduction. Since then, their first model has debuted in South Africa, and we attended the media launch to get the lowdown.
It's been a massive affair. Lepus has landed in the country, or some might say leaped into the country under the Cherry umbrella. Behind me is the celebration of that leaping into the sales shots. They've launched the car at 299,000, but some say that that might just be to grab some headlines. Is their car a value proposition? Well, let's ask some journalists first before we chat to Letitia from Lepus and find out if that's the case.
So the model we got to drive was the L4 in top spec Pantera, guys. And as of yet, I'm still undecided about what I think of the car and driving dynamics. It was fairly similar to the Tigo 4 Cross. So I did notice that the tailgate was manually operated and it didn't have keyless entry, and those are things that we've come to get used to seeing in cars of its ilk. So yeah, I feel as though it could be a little bit better spec, especially for the top spec starting at 420,000.
So from a value for money perspective, I definitely think that this brand is on it because they've marketed themselves as a lifestyle brand. And as a result of that, you've got this whole thing in your head that you kind of expect the brand to be more expensive than what it is. So the fact that they've come in at 299 starting off, to me, absolutely blows my mind. Naturally, I do think people are going to go for the middle ground spec. So I think in that 360 to 400,000 Rand is where people are going to be spending their money.
It was comfortable, it was composed, it felt nicely put together. It wasn't trying to be anything that it's not. It's just a stylish, decent looking compact SUV at a good price. And it feels like exactly that. I think the Cherry DNA is quite strong, and especially also, like we found out here tonight with the 1 million kilometer 10-year warranty for the first owner. That's become a notorious point of coverage for the Cherry group. So the Cherry DNA, I think, is quite strong.
So from a driving experience perspective, there is familiarity. You do understand that you are driving a Cherry product, but I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever. I think at the end of the day, people do want that individuality, and I think they are going to get that individuality from a brand perspective. But overall, it is something that is not going to alienate any audiences in terms of how different it is. It is actually more familiar for most consumers out there. So I think most consumers are going to get into the car and they're going to feel comfortable in this Lepus. So yeah, from that perspective, I think that they're going to do well.
Building a brand from the foundation up, it takes a lot of hard work, and you have to do it with passion. You've got to do everything you do with passion. So why not, us be so excited? Because literally it's come to life. It's been really, really hard work, blood, sweat and tears. And there's so many other people behind the scenes that the motoring media don't get to meet. There's so much that goes into it. From the dealer expansion and the 500 units that we have brought to South Africa, it actually shows our commitment to South Africa and to basically be the first country in the world to launch the Lepus L4. I mean, that's an achievement on its own. So, yay! So when we look at Lepus as a brand, right, it's premium but attainable. So the price goes hand in hand with what we are saying in terms of identity and our value proposition for consumers. It wouldn't make sense. We're saying it's premium but attainable, then why should we be launching with such elevated prices? Consumers are tired for just paying for a brand name, right? And I go back to the sense that they want value proposition. They want a car that fits their lifestyles, and Lepus just does that.
By all accounts, the Lepus L4 is another sub-brand that has taken a template that clearly works and is now being implemented in South Africa once again. South Africans want value for money, and even if you're not going to buy that 299,000 Rand package and you get upsold into something else, you're still going to be getting a lot of car for your money, which is what we want in this country right now. But for now, I think the proof will indeed be in the pudding. And I think for that to be the case, I'd need to test drive one of these myself. So look forward to our full review later on down the line on Ignition GT. Speaking of pudding, I think it's time for dessert. Cheers for now.
C7 was first revealed in 2024 and launched in 2025. We finally have it on our roads because in China, when I first got in touch or saw this car, we really couldn't drive the car. We only could see it, jump inside and drive it for a brief moment around the slalom in a controlled environment. Now we have it on test and I can finally drive it on South African roads, and I must say that it has been attracting a lot of attention, and that's because of its beautiful looks. It does look like a concept car, which I do not mind at all, because if you can pull the design of a concept car and still make it look as beautiful and close enough to that render, I do think it's a kudos to the designers. So I definitely love how this car looks. We do have this egg-shaped grille with a lot of honeycomb detail in the front. You've got 20-inch two-tone alloy wheels. You also have red calipers, which make the car stand out, especially in this black metallic color. It does ring true to what they're trying to sell here, which is a sporty family SUV. The rear is also beautifully designed. You have a slightly sloping roofline. You also have sleek Thunderbolt designed lights. Now I say Thunderbolt because look at this, and when you do switch on the car, they definitely do go like a Thunderbolt would, which I do find quite interesting on this rear end of the car. So this is the PHEV, the plug-in hybrid version of the car. That's the derivative we have here today. Opening up the boot, it is an electric tailgate, and you have just a slightly smaller boot than you do have in the 1.6 petrol derivatives that do not have the battery underneath. So in this car, you have about 77 liters less of boot space capacity, which gives you about 614 liters in the C7. It's not bad, but obviously if you do want more space, you might have to just go for the petrol derivatives. The C7 is a very elegant car, and the cabin is a very lovely place to be in as well. It's got such nice touch materials, nice ventilated seats, just beautiful leather and nice materials used across the whole cabin. In the center here, you have some button controls from your hazards to your aircon ventilation, as well as your driving modes and the EV and HEV toggle. You do have a 15.3-inch screen in front of you, great graphics, does connect to Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. A no for me is that you have to adjust your mirrors inside this system. If I'm driving and I get somebody else, if I had a husband, I'm just saying, if I had a husband who was driving and we both need to, digitally change our mirror settings in this, it does get a bit tedious and just annoying. But this also does have 19 speakers Sony, which is actually good quality. You also do have a flat bottom steering wheel, multifunctional wireless charging pad, a panoramic sunroof. While the passenger gets the grabbing handle, the driver gets a sunglass holder. So this family SUV will sit 5 occupants in the car, 3 in the back seat, and I will say has enough legroom for me as well as headroom. From this back seat, you can actually get a nice vantage point of how the whole car looks, and I do think even from here, you'd feel like you're in a luxurious SUV. The Omoda C7 is the only car in the Omoda stable that has been specifically designed for Omoda. The others sort of shared ideas and whatever else with Chery, but this is specifically designed for Omoda, and I'm quite impressed with how it looks and most importantly how it drives, because it feels so refined. The C7 uses the same system that the JQ J7 HSS uses. So HSS stands for Super Hybrid System, which will give you 1,200 kilometers worth of range. This is a 1.5 liter turbo petrol charged engine paired with an 18.3 kilowatt battery, which will give you combined output figures of 255 kilowatts and 525 newton meters of torque. So this car will give you drive information for the last 50 kilometers, and judging by this, I've been doing 5.5 liters per 100 kilometer. Omoda does claim a 4.6 liter per 100 kilometer reading, but we haven't been able to manage it as yet. So let's talk about pricing, because this is where this car gets even more impressive, because starting price of 539,900 Rand, that is an aggressively priced car. The plug-in hybrid that I'm driving, however, will cost you 689,900 Rand, which I definitely also think is a bit of a steal in this category. I have been left quite impressed. I do think it stands out from its competitors, and some words that it actually leaves me thinking about is it's elegant, it's refined, it's just a lovely car and a perfect family SUV to be in. So yeah, can I leave it there? This car is a big fat yes.
With that, we've come to the end of another episode. Thank you, James, for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
See you guys
Thank
soon.
you. Nice to see you again.
Please tune in again next week when we drive Volvo's sensational ES90 electric sedan. The Renault Kaiga receives a welcome increase in power courtesy of forced induction, and Ernest experiences the Leap Motor brand for the first time.